Well, good morning. I can't tell you how good it is to be back home in Fort Bend County. Common sense is being surged through my body, unlike Washington, D.C. In fact, I was home before I left Washington. True story. As I got on the plane and walked down to Gate 11 at Reagan National Airport, I saw Marvin Marcel and our county judge getting on the same plane. Yeah, they were there. And I know some of y'all who've flown Continental 99 since the merger are concerned about them, whether or not they get it, whether they give people the proper amount of respect. I can assure you, they still get it. Because Marvin and our county judge were upgraded to first class. I was upgraded to an X-row aisle seat. They've got it. Speaking of leaders like Judge Abear, I want to thank the Central Fort Bend Chamber of Alliance for all the hard work they do. Tom, thank you for your leadership. Most importantly, Shanta over there. Shanta, thank you for your leadership. I mean, in the Navy, we say leaders lead, and Tom and Shanta are leaders. And my good friend John Gonzalez, who flew to Dallas last night, sort of on a parallel track with me, got up this morning to come down here and introduce me. Thank you, John, for that kind introduction. I'm going to talk briefly about what we're doing on the Energy and Commerce Committee, two particular issues, hydraulic fracturing and the Keystone XL pipeline. Give you sort of some outline of what's going to happen in the future, I think, address this Congress, and then take questions. And so I will be brief. You can trust me. I give you my word. And again, you can trust me because I work in Washington, D.C. You got me sharp this morning. Good. You guys know about the Keystone XL pipeline. It's a pipeline coming from Canada right here to southeast Texas, Port of Houston and the Port of Port Arthur. It's about 20,000 American jobs, shovel-ready jobs, 800,000 barrels a day, Canadian oil coming down right here to Houston. That gets rid of, that allows us to have energy security because we're not dependent upon, we just get Venezuela, for example, out of our energy supply chain. We have energy security of national security. Unfortunately, the administration, the president found himself in a pickle as this thing was going forward, that he had two parts of his base that were opposed to that had different positions on the pipeline. He had the Hollywood, the environmental activists who hated the pipeline because it's dirty oil. And he had the labor unions who loved it. And he didn't want to make a decision that might impact his re-election bid, so he decided to try to kick that can down the road past the election. The American people want this pipeline built. And because of that, we fought for them. And you might recall about a month ago now, the president said, well, okay, we'll have the first part of the pipeline built, from Port Arthur here to Cushing, Oklahoma. That's a good first step. But y'all should know, he had no role in that. Texas and Oklahoma, that's just a domestic issue. The only reason the administration, D.C. is involved in this is because of one small segment of that pipeline coming from Canada across our border. And so I will continue to fight to make sure that pipeline gets fully built. And we're going to fight for that in the House of Representatives. In fact, we did so yesterday. We passed a highway bill that we gave it a 90-day extension. We attached two things on that are important to us. We attached a Keystone XL portion, which keeps the administration out of the approval path, puts the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, in charge of the permitting process. And we passed a thing called the Restore Act, which we don't know how much money is going to be coming from the settlement from the oil spill that BP's going to have to pay. But this bill makes sure that it doesn't become a big slush fund for the administration. That money, at least 2/3 of it, goes to the 5 states that were impacted directly by the oil spill: Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. That's in the bill. It's been sent over to the United States Senate. A little changing gears here. I'd also like to talk about another energy and commerce issue, and it's the exploding amount of natural gas we're finding in our country right now. It's really happening because of two things. Two pieces of technology. One's directional drilling. You guys know what that is, where you'll actually drill down and turn the drill bit 90 degrees and work it. You'll drill down about a mile, turn it about maybe 2 miles, and just can target basically a quarter where they think oil and gas are. And what's called hydraulic fracture, where they pump liquids down to generate some pressure, crack the shale open, and bring up the gas and oil. And I'm almost 50 years old. I know you guys go, man, he looks like he's about 70, but I'm about 50. For the first time in my lifetime, I can honestly say we have a chance to become energy independent, or at least a chance to become only dependent upon North American sources, Canada and Mexico. And we do that with natural gas. This gas can be used for power generation. In fact, the Parish plant, you can see over the horizon here, they have 8 power generators, 4 of them are coal, 4 of them are natural gas. They're doing it already. Transportation, gas can be used to power vehicles. We can convert our cars with maybe $4,000 or $5,000, pretty expensive. But we don't have to build a whole other line of vehicles to use natural gas. It's clean, it's American, and we should develop it. And we've got one great region of our state right here that's at the forefront of this. It's called the Eagle Ford Shale Play. And it's right, if you've got to know geography, here we are, you got San Antonio, Laredo, Corpus Christi. It's right in the center there, west of us, south of San Antonio, north of Laredo, and just touching the greater Corpus Christi area. I went out there for about 24 hours about a month or so ago, and what I saw was amazing. Just one example of what these drilling operations are doing for our country and our economies. The parts of the counties out there aren't the most well-funded counties. I mean, they're economically deprived. We went with Weatherford coming and saw one of their fracking operations. Driving down there, they talked about Dimmitt County. Dimmitt County, in the 2 years that they've been doing operations there in the county, these fracking operations, their sales tax revenue has gone up 300%. 300%. How would you like to have a 300% increase in our sales tax revenue? You'd be good with GSA and go to Vegas. Their property tax revenue went up 400%. That's money for schools. And the school districts there, 6 of them, were under our Robin Hood system, were takers. They weren't donors. Now, all 6 of them are donors. They probably will be for the foreseeable future. That's one thing that can happen if we develop this energy. The 2 problems we have right now going forward, one of them is a problem that we're going to fix. I know you guys will fix right here in Fort Bend County, but we don't have enough skilled workers to develop this energy as we want to develop it. And these are the workers I saw out there. I mean, many of them have just a high school degree, maybe 2 years in a community college. They were starting out $65,000 a year. 4 years, 5 years, $100,000. More than I ever made after 2 years of training to be a naval pilot. Good paying jobs, that we can have right here in America. And we've got the people right here. I guarantee you, our community college system will pivot whatever they need to do to get kids involved and get them out there working these rigs. The other big challenge we have in the future, unfortunately, is where I work. Washington, D.C. And 3 letters. EPA. The Environmental Protection Agency. They don't like this process. And they're doing a study about trying to find out the biggest issue is whether or not it's going to contaminate some drinking water across the country. The fact of the matter is this process has not contaminated drinking water in the 50 years that it's been used commercially. Not one. And there's been some good news. I mean, EPA has gotten pushed back 3 times the last 3 months by federal courts. In Wyoming, the federal court basically said that EPA's, they used some modeling to sort of get involved in fracking out there. The federal court said, your model is garbage. Get away. Wyoming's doing a great job regulating their process out there. In Pennsylvania, the Marcellus Shale plant, EPA got in there and did a study that basically confirmed what a Pennsylvania state study had done a year before. And the court basically said, EPA, get out. You gave nothing. You guys did exactly what Pennsylvania did. We don't need you in this process. And right here in our great state of Texas, about 2 years ago, at the Barnett Shale plant, which is by Dallas-Fort Worth area, John's part of our state, They took over 2 wells that were near a home there that something was in the water. And a company called Range Resources was guys who were doing the drilling. In our state, the Railroad Commission regulates natural gas and oil. And the Railroad Commission got on it trying to find out what's in there, what's in that water, because there was something there. You could smell it, you could taste it, there was problems with their water. You know, again, the operator, Range Resources, stepped up. They gave the people, those 2 homes, potable water, put showers out there like a military personnel deployed overseas have. So they did everything they could to minimize the impact of what was in the water. The Railroad Commission did the study and found out because of the specific nature of the chemicals going down, they can fingerprint them. They said, I don't know what's in that, what's contaminating this water, but I can guarantee you it's not coming from the fracking operations that are close to this house, these 2 houses. The fact that EPA took over those 2 wells and sort of punished Range Resources before getting that data was bad enough. What really concerned me is what happened when they announced what they were doing. Our regional administrator hit the send button. Well, you're right, that does get a big bang to it. Hit the send button on an email that he blasts out all over our country to environmental groups, saying, the quote was, we're going to make big news in Texas today. And that told me what EPA's real agenda is. It's not about clean air. It's not about clean water. It's about driving an anti-natural gas, anti-oil agenda. And so I will continue to fight to make sure that the EPA, in at least the next year, if we have to get another president, doesn't do any damage to our natural gas resources. Moving on to the energy and commerce realm, just talk about some of the things we've got to do before this year ends. We passed a highway bill, gave it a 90-day extension just 2 days ago, Wednesday. Basically a straight extension. We had two provisions that are important for us there. We had the Keystone XL pipelines in there and a thing called the Restore Act that I talked about. That, we still got to get that done. Kicking the can down the road, 90 days, didn't get it done. But I'm glad we got it out of the House because the Senate bill is terrible. It's Barbara Boxer's bill, and that would have been the thing we've been working on, folks. So we got that done. The other sort of must-passes that are coming up, we've got a flood insurance bill that we're going to have to do sometime in May. Very, very important for our economy here in Fort Bend County. And we're working closely with the county leadership, most of the cities. I mean, there's a thing called a senator called Richard Shelby, who's put an amendment in there. I mean, basically what we've done, we've built our levees here to federal standards. We didn't build them, working with the federal government. We took our own initiative, paid for ourselves. And now the Shelby amendment tries to say that, you guys, you're not going to get credit for that. So all these people are going to be in floodplains that they're really not in floodplains. Our levees have held every single natural disaster we've had in Fort Bend County since they've been built. They've held. They've held their integrity, which many cities across America, counties, can't say they've done that. And so I've got good relationships with Speaker Boehner, with Majority Leader Cantor, who's going to come down. Actually, Speaker Boehner was here last week. Eric Cantor's coming down the week after next. Kevin McCarthy, number 3, was down here for me about 2 weeks ago. I've got great relationships with those 3 gentlemen. And if I have to play that card to get that Shelby man out of the bill, I'll do it. Because it's important for our quality of life here in Fort Bend County that we get credit for the levees we have because they are there. They're safe. They protect people from floods. They've proven it over and over and over. And for some reason, again, common sense. DC doesn't seem to get that. The other thing we've got to do, a couple other things we've got to do. We're looking at the largest tax increase in American history coming on January 1st. Before that, though, we got a little big problem. We're going to probably have to have you guys heard of the continuing resolution, the CR. You guys should be scared when I say that, because that's where we're about on the verge of shutting down the government the past year. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be going down that path again, because the United States Senate has not passed the budget. I've been in Congress now for just about 3.5 years. They have not passed the budget all 3 years. And yesterday, the chairman, Ken Conrad, of the Budget Committee said, nah, we're not going to get it done this year. And so because of that, our appropriators don't have the guidelines they need to do, go do the money, pay the, allocate the funds. And so we will be in a situation, my prediction, coming to some deadline late September 30th, which is when the current fiscal year expires. We've got to get something done so we don't shut down the government on October 1st. We'll have a CR, but again, that's not a real solution. And again, as I mentioned, the largest tax increase in American history will happen on January 1st automatically, unless we extend these so-called Bush tax cuts of 2001 and 2003. And in our budget, if we pass the budget, that tried to solve some of these problems. I mean, the tax system, we want to make it more simple. Right now, I've got 6 different brackets for individual income taxes. We say that's way too many. Let's make it 2, 10%, 25%. Corporations, 25% max. And if you're American, making a profit overseas, we're not going to tax you, double tax you when you come back home. Make you competitive with the global economy. And the other thing, most importantly, we actually try to address some of the big problems, which are Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, so-called entitlement programs. And I know the media will say the Republicans are trying to kill Medicare. I mean, some Navy words are coming to mind. I can't say them with this crowd here. Just tell those people they're not telling the truth. That's bull. We're going with that. House Republicans are the only ones who put a proposal forward to save Medicare, because it will go bankrupt unless we change the formula. And what our budget did this time is, if you're 55 or over, don't worry about it. Nothing will change for you. We've made promises that you've been planning your future retirement on, your health care. Nothing will change. The budget we passed last year, again, we passed one, the Senate hadn't done it. That was if you're 55, 54 or younger, we're going to change the program modeled over the Federal Employees Health Benefits Plan. That still occurs in the current budget we passed, but Paul Ryan, our budget chairman, added a little wrinkle. Just said, if you want to go in the traditional Medicare program, we'll give you an option to do that. So if you're 31 and you want to go in the traditional program, go ahead. Or if you want to get in the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program model that we have as federal employees, come on in. If you get better health care, in the federal employees program, because it's free markets there. But if you want to go, don't want to change, cool. Again, it's not to any consideration in the United States Senate. Doctors, SGR, that's the Medicare reimbursement rate. And doctors are looking at a 30% hit if we don't extend the SGR rate and pay for that. Again, that's something that will expire on December 31st. There's no business in America. You guys are the business people in America that can take a 30%, and Joe's over here, a 30% hit on his revenue. And so we've got to get that passed as well. And then the other things, the payroll tax holiday, you remember that, the whole Christmas debacle we had, that's going to come up again after the 31st of January. Just one thing about that, one thing we passed a bill yesterday in the House, and it's for y'all. It's a small business tax credit. Eric Cantor, Majority Leader, proposed it. It passed out of the House by, I don't know how many Democrats we got in the bill. But it basically said if you're a corporation, a small business of less than 500 employees, you will get a 20% break in your income taxes, immediate break. Let me keep your money, doing what you need to do to grow your business, buy new equipment, new machines, whatever, hire more people. But giving the American people, American small businesses, the drivers of our economy, the job creators, more money, so they'd help get this economy turned around. Unfortunately, our president's already said, before he got over to the Senate, that he vetoed it. But we'll keep sending bills. You can tell Speaker Boehner I broke it out for y'all, because he wants us. But this is a list of about 30 bills we passed, good job-creating bills that the United States House has passed under Republican leadership that have not gotten a vote in the Senate, and they're stacking up there in Majority Leader's inbox. With all that bad stuff, I'd like to close on a positive note and then take your questions. How about the Skeeters? Yeah, baby! We are less than 1 week away from opening day at their Constellation Field. And I got to just tell you a little story. This was told in the confines of Congress one-on-one, so it's sort of a I trust you guys to be careful with this information. But a guy named Todd Platts is one of my colleagues. He's from York, Pennsylvania. And Jimmy knows what's coming here. Before we came back from last recess, we were having dinner one night there in the whip's office. And I mentioned something about Sugar Land, and his eyes got real big. Is he from Sugar Land, Texas? Yeah? Oh. He goes, man, I'm worried about April 26th. What are you talking about? Oh. Well, I've got my hometown baseball team, the York Revolution, from York, Pennsylvania. I think I've heard they're going to open your new stadium. Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, glad to have you. Come on down. Goes, yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. You know, it's just like a little kid, he's kind of looking at his feet and not looking at me. He goes, I've heard you guys have this magnificent stadium. It's like a major league. Got this big board up there, this carousel for the kids in left field, this beautiful grass. I mean, just an old style stadium, a modern stadium, major league caliber. Yeah, that's right, Todd. I've heard the place is just sold out. I've heard there's going to be thousands of rabid Texans in the stand. Okay, what's your point, Todd? My point is, Pete, this is our first road trip of the season. We're going to go down there and get hammered for 4 games. And our whole season will go down to 2 because of the beating we're taking Sugar Land, Texas. Sorry, Todd. That's tough, isn't it? But Todd, there's a silver lining there. I mean, once you guys take that 4th beating, 4th season, we've got this great airport right across the street. We'll get the buses, we'll take you across, we'll pat you on the back, and say, y'all come back now, you're here. So with that, I just want to take time for your questions. I want to thank y'all for having me. Most importantly, thank y'all for what you do for the quality of life here in Fort Bend County. We live in the greatest county, the greatest state, the greatest country. And I'm so proud to represent you up in Washington. One other thing, too, I just want to thank you for is the diversity of this county is one of our great strengths. I guys saw about a month or so ago the vice professor of the study. Houston, Texas was the most diverse large city in America. More diverse in LA, in New York, in Chicago, you name it. Number 1. And then an article the Houston Chronicle wrote, they focused on 2 parts of the greater Houston area that indicate the diversity in the fastest growing parts of the area. Fort Bend County and Pearland, Missouri County, Texas. So thank you guys for that, because when we talked about these freshmen, get to know them, they asked me about my district, what does it look like demographically? I have a real simple answer. Texas 22 looks like America. And thank you guys for giving me that ability to say that. Happy to take your questions. God bless you all. Oh, very, very.
You mentioned a lot of the hot buttons. The hot rank is something that is of primary concern to myself and to everybody. They haven't rolled out all of the regulations involved in that. They haven't rolled out 50%. They got 2,000 pages. So I didn't hear you mention about that.
Obviously, nothing will change with Dodd-Frank with the current administration and the current Senate, but that's on our target list. If we take back the White House and get back control of the Senate, Dodd-Frank's dead. I mean, it's Obamacare, well, maybe one before that happens with the Supreme Court. But I have no insight, just as you guys know, I have no insight what's happened. The Supreme Court is, who knows. But the comments from the justices were very positive. I mean, we walked in, I thought the wind was kind of in our face. It was definitely at our back after those 3 days up there in Washington. Particularly Justice Kennedy, who was the swing voter of the court. He was asking some really, really tough questions of the administration, their accountants, Counsel General. Oh, Rob Quarles.
Good to see you, Congressman. Last Monday, or maybe it was last week, President Barack Obama made a statement where he was consolidating about 10 federal agencies that currently oversee natural gas, oil exploration, and going to consolidate them, and it sounded like creating some kind of master plan for infrastructure for natural gas use. And API appraised it. I just want to know what your take on this.
Rob, we don't need more federal government regulating energy. The states are doing a great job. I mean, again, there hasn't been one documented case of some sort of contamination of drinking water from the fracking process. In fact, the environmental groups, I can't remember what the study was 2 weeks ago, admitted that. They said, well, there's been some problems, but they're not problems from fracking, they're problems from all drilling of oil. Somebody did a poor sealing on the casing, whatever. I mean, somebody made a mistake, and some of the energy, the oil and gas, flowed out of some problem. Nothing with fracking. We don't need more federal government. Get out. If you want to, Mr. President, if you consolidate into 10, I'll vote for it. If you promise me you'll give it a VPA. If you guys come down my Sugar Land office, Rob was kind of work for me, and Todd would give me a sledgehammer that's got EPA on the head. So when I get frustrated one day, I just go, bam, bam, bam. It's there, true. Come on by and see it. If you get frustrated one day, then do some of your business. And that's one thing too. Please, 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 let me know about how we're doing in Washington impacts you. Good and bad. Mostly bad. Eric Cannon, I mentioned Eric a lot, our majority leader. He wants us getting on the floor of the House and telling real-world stories about how the policies of this administration are hurting our recovery from the recession. You guys are on the front lines of that. You feel what we're doing up there every day, the uncertainty that's coming with the tax code, all that sort of bit, Dodd-Frank, on and on, Obamacare, it just keeps going. But Rob, we don't need another government bureaucracy.
Yes, sir.
So, the president needs to do what he's, remember he talked real good about a State of the Union address. He went off, he talked about natural gas, American natural gas, gave very glowing reviews of it, sort of saying what I'm saying, century supply. I don't clap for him, but this president got it. But I heard him, y'all heard him, he needed to look over and make sure Lisa Jackson, his EPA administrator, was listening to him. Because her actions aren't jiving with what he's saying. He wants to develop this energy, but she's trying her best to thwart it. Who else? I do a good job, I'm done here. How about, anybody, boy, it's surprising. Most of these times somebody asks me who's going to be, well, that's kind of done, our nominee's going to be, Robbie's going to be the nominee. Oh, here we go. Mike, you do next, Mike. Yes, sir.
I hear you on the talk radio quite often, and I'm grateful for that. Keep up with what's going on. One of your colleagues was on a couple of weeks ago, I don't even remember his name, but he was saying that there are at least 11 different agencies right now. So the only one he couldn't mention was the Department of Education involved in this, that is studying the impact of fracking.
Yep.
Why can't we do something about that? Why do we need every agency around studying this stuff?
The bureaucracy exploded on this president. This is a great example. That's why we don't need another agency. You're right. We've got 11 agencies right now that we know of. Some of we don't know, but are studying some sort of fracking because, again, they want to find a problem. They're not looking, they're trying to, they wouldn't be doing this unless they wanted to find a problem. Global warming. You guys remember what happened with the Constellation program up at the Johnson Space Center? The president killed it. There's about 4,000 jobs at the Space Center, no real mission right now. That money was being used, part of it was being used to get NASA more involved in climate control, global warming research. 15 agencies are doing that research. It's ludicrous. And our transportation bill, we cut, there's about 150 agencies involved in that process. We cut that down to 50. But unfortunately, we could not get that out of the House. We couldn't get the votes. Well, we can do that, but we can do that on the House side. But I guarantee you, the Senate won't do that. And eventually we get to the government shutdown, and we can't do that during election cycle. We saw what happened with President Clinton. When we shut down the government for just a couple of days, he got revitalized by that. And my biggest, I'm working hard to get reelected, but number 2 priority is to get another president in the White House. And take back the Senate. Thank you. Are you giving Jackie your question? Or?
No, I yield.
Gentleman yields to the gentle lady.
What do you think the likelihood
It's Senator Corn. Senator Corn is running the campaign operations for the United States Senate. And we had lunch with us yesterday at the House side. We get together, we do a great thing. House Republicans meet every Thursday for lunch. And if you mess it up, I was a freshman, had to bring Bluebell ice cream, very important for Texans. We went home for the Christmas holidays, and the stuff we had gets frozen in the freezer. And I was at the committee here, it was a really important asset thing. I couldn't go to lunch. And my BlackBerry just started jumping. And I said, what's going on? Every member of the Texas delegation of Republicans had an email there, and they were all threatening. Like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. So I was like, whatever's so important at this hearing, I go down and find what the Bluebell ice cream is messed up. And one of my colleagues, who go unnamed, looked at me right, a very senior member of Congress, tapped me in the chest like your father does when he's lecturing to you and said, freshman, don't ever let this happen again. If it happens again, I will find a primary opponent for you, and they'll be very, very well funded. You'll be a one-term congressman. But Jackie, we've got to get, the Senate, Senator Corn came yesterday, we had a real setback with Olympia Snow announcing her retirement up there in Maine. It looks like that seat will go to a A couple things Senator Cornyn pointed out. She did it 2 weeks before the filing deadline. And so he was scrambling as the head of the NRSC to get up there and find some sort of suitable candidate to take on the Democrat. And I guess the favorite is the independent former Governor Angus King. But he said he will caucus with the Democrats, so he's basically a Democrat. So he might have lost that seat. He's worried about Scott Brown. Scott Brown, Massachusetts, big, Ted Kennedy's seat. Great victory for us. Basically froze all this stuff down. We've got to make sure we got the best Bush tax cuts extended. He knows Elizabeth Warren's running against him, well-funded. But Senator Cornyn said Scott is great with people. I mean, she's not very good with people. She's got a lot of money, but he gets that pickup truck, drives all over Massachusetts, and people love it. So he thinks he's optimistic to get reelected. He's not going to sleep and he's going to get everything he needs to get Scott Brown reelected. We've got opportunities in Montana, retired up there, Bach's retired, Oregon, North Dakota, and those are red states. We should get those, but nothing. Ben Nelson's leaving Nebraska. It's there for the taking, but the senator said we got to work for it. It can't be done though. Mike, you're up next.
Last question. Other than you, Pete, who's the leading candidate to beat Romney's running mate?
Can you tuck this head she doesn't have a fever or some sort of delusional type stuff? I have no idea, Mike. They're just right now. Governor Romney hasn't sealed the nomination. It doesn't have, but he's going to get it. And so just this week they started talking about vice presidential nominees. So that's I know what Mitt's going to do. I've gotten to know him pretty well. He helped me out the fundraiser. Came down here in 2008. Kind of pushed me over the top against Nick Lampson. And he's sort of like a Red President Bush's look, and he was talking about Pick and Cheney. People talk about the politics. He said, yeah, it's important, but the most important thing is I pick someone who can be the president at a moment's notice in a crisis, because probably something happened. I'll be a young president, something bad could happen. Heart attack, whatever, assassination. It's going to be a crisis for our country. So we have someone who's ready to stand up and be the president immediately, and maybe take us to war, whatever. And I know that's what Mitt's thinking about. He's not worried about the politics. All the names come up. Marco Rubio's up there. We need to. I know I'm confident Mitt's going to pick a very qualified person to be our vice president, who can be the president at moment's notice, and who probably take in some votes. But beating President Obama, and again, if you're a Democrat, I respect our president. He is the president, got elected. I just have differences in policies. But that's what makes our country great. We can have differences here. You can speak your mind, I can speak my mind. And nobody kicks down the door and drags one out and throws handcuffs around us. Thank you. I move back to balance my time.
Okay, John.
We've got so many gifts for the congressman. I hope it's legal.
I have to think too.
Pete, I forgot to tell you when we first met, I was your age. And well, thank you, and Tom. Thank you for your leadership here with the chamber, and Shannon, again, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you all today, and for everything you do for the business community here, and it's so important to us at the U.S. Chamber, and for obviously for all your members here, and to the board and your committees. Thank you for everything you do, and the U.S. Chamber does appreciate all your hard work. Well, the U.S. Chamber is the largest business federation representing more than 3 million businesses and organizations of every size and business sector. It includes hundreds of associations thousands of local chambers like yours, and more than 100 American chambers of commerce in 91 countries. Pete, we like to say we're the voice of business on Capitol Hill, and I think since you've been there, you know that.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Well, each year the U.S. Chamber recognizes members of Congress who support our pro-business legislative agenda with our Spirit of Enterprise Award. This award embodies the belief that free enterprise is the key to a prosperous nation, and in 2011, your Congressman Pete Olson was one of those outstanding members. So I'm so honored to present our Spirit of Enterprise Award to Congressman Olson, and thank him for supporting the business community and defending free enterprise. And I'm so happy that I can call him a friend. Congressman.
Thank you, John. And I don't accept this award on behalf of myself, but on behalf of Tom, Shanta, and all of y'all, the business community of Fort Bend County. This is your award. So come down to Sugar Land office and see it. Thank you.
Down the award. Water on it. It's like a little trick. Don't run. You get all kinds of plaques and so forth. Well, this one we thought would be a little unique. It's got your photos, a bunch of different photos of us, and a lot of our signatures on here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Boy, some of this is blackmail photos. One up here at the upper right. There's Tracy. That's from you, Mr. Tracy. Yeah, remember the picture? Thank you, guys. Great. That's me off as well. God bless you.